is an ABC News special, The 2000 Vote.
The election of 2000 is remembered as the closest presidential election in U.S. history between candidates Al Gore of the Democratic Party and George W. Bush of the Republican Party.
Through my life, I've always tried to keep the faith. When I was a young man, I volunteered for the Army and went to Vietnam. Tipper and I have been married for 30 years. I've kept faith with my country. And I've made
Democrat Al Gore was nominated by the Democratic Party to run as one of the two candidates for the presidency in 2000, with Joe Lieberman as his running mate. He was then the vice president of Bill Clinton and a former senator of Tennessee, where he grew up.
and works for all Americans.
I believe we need to encourage personal responsibility so people are accountable for their actions. And I believe in government that is responsible to the people.
Republican George W. Bush was nominated by the Republican Party to run as the second candidate for the presidency in 2000, with Dick Cheney as his running mate. He was then a governor of Texas and was the son of former President George H.W. Bush. Bush had a close race in the primaries with Arizona Senator John McCain, but overall won the Republican nomination. Now that we know more about the candidates, let's look into the election.
Stay with us. We're about to take you on an exciting and bumpy ride.
On November 7, 2000, it was discovered that Gore had won the popular vote over Bush by over 500,000 votes. He had also attained a leading 255 electoral votes to Bush's 246, but neither candidate had attained the required 270 votes for a presidential win.
See embarrassing Vice President Gore by snatching his state's 11 electoral votes.
And so, we're pretty darn upbeat about things.
Okay, Governor Bush pretty darn upbeat about this.
Stand by.
At this point, the election began to lean on Florida for its undecided 25 electoral votes.
Back to the
Half of the vote has been counted so
At
far.
first, Florida exit polls indicated Gore as victorious, but as more votes were tallied, Bush was declared as the winner. Because of disputes over who actually got Florida's votes, many citizens began to argue over the accuracy of the voting machines in Florida, particularly arguing over butterfly ballots and hanging chads.
She knows me as a hanging chad. What?
Eyes are on the state of Florida, which appears now more than ever to be the linchpin in this race. This is, folks, what we mean when we say too close to call. This is genuinely too close to call. And it is not clear how
Due to these disputes and the close election call, Florida mandated a vote recount to ensure the correct result.
we have done now.
Along with this, the Gore campaign requested a manual recount by hand, of which the Bush campaign appealed and took the issue to the Supreme Court in Bush versus Gore. As a result of the case, the Supreme Court declared the by-hand recounts unconstitutional of the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause because Florida did not have a protocol for evaluating disputed ballots.
I believe things happen for a reason, and I hope the long wait of the last 5 weeks will heighten a desire to move beyond the bitterness and partisanship of the recent past. Our nation must rise above a house divided. Americans share hopes and goals and values far more important than any political disagreements.
After Bush versus Gore, many citizens questioned the legitimacy of Bush's presidency, which won 271 electoral votes to Gore's 266, and barely won Florida's 6 million votes by a close 537 votes. In conclusion, the election of 2000 marked the first time a candidate won the U.S. presidency while losing the popular vote since the presidential election of 1888 and officially became the closest U.S. presidential race in history.